Hi guys, my name's Niko. I sing and play guitar in a band called Now in Colour, and this week I bought an album called The Raven That Refused to Sing by Steven Wilson.
To clear away all the jets in your brain and face the truth. Well, I can make amends, but while the darkness always ends, you're still alone. So try.
So the full title of the album is actually The Raven That Refused to Sing, brackets, and Other Stories, but it was a little bit of a mouthful for the intro. So Steven Wilson is an English musician. He's from London, I think. And this is his third solo studio album. So he'd had a huge career before this record came out. He was 45, I think, when this record was released. And he's had a whole career in the band Porcupine Tree, which are one of the most famous and influential progressive rock bands of the modern, or progressive metal, I guess, however you want to look at it, bands of the modern era. He has done a whole lot of mixing and mastering and production work for different albums, including my favorite Opeth album, Blackwater Park. I'm not sure if it was engineered by him, but it was definitely mixed by him. And if you go back and listen to it after listening to a lot of his personal work, you'll start to hear his touch on various different things because he's done a lot of work. He's a very prolific musician. But interestingly enough, this is personally my favorite work by him, I think. I actually like it more than all of the Porcupine Tree stuff, and I really like a lot of the Porcupine Tree stuff. This album is an absolute triumph of sort of modern, I don't know, it's kind of like genreless, roughly rock-based. It's roughly classified as progressive rock, but there are elements of jazz and folk music in there, and there are like bits that are tending towards like the more dissonant side of metal even. And there really is just so much interesting lyrical, thematic, and musical innovation across the whole record. It's only 6 tracks, but it's over an hour long because there are 3 or 4 songs on there that are over 10 minutes. So it's kind of, I would say that it's not for the faint-hearted, but there are some very accessible bits in there as well. I think Drive Home and The Raven That Refused to Sing were the 2 big hits on the record, or well, hits as much as you can have a hit in progressive rock, but they were the the tracks off that album that people really know, but I like almost every moment of every song on this record. It's so rare that you'll get something that is just this rock solid the whole way through. The only thing that I don't really like that much is The Holy Drinker. It's just not my kind of song, but the rest of it is just so dynamite. It actually kind of reminds me of Million Town by Frost in that way. But yeah, essentially, the biggest things that I like about it personally, I really like the production and the mixing, because it's been done in a way that is actually compressed very little, and it's so rare for that to happen with a big modern expensive record. And what I mean by it's not really compressed is that the soft parts are very soft and the loud parts by comparison are very loud. So if you're listening to this on like iPhone headphones on the bus or something like that, you'll find yourself having to turn it up and down all the time, because it actually goes soft enough that you can't hear the things with background noise. But if you listen to it on some nice studio monitors, big speakers, a nice sound system, it is just such a beautiful experience. It gets really intimate at periods, and then like just, it just explodes into this huge wall of sound at places as well. It's really fantastically engineered. And the other thing that I like about it is that Steven Wilson seems to have approached this record with absolutely no concern for how people would perceive it. And I mean that in the best possible way. Like it comes across as a record that was made for no one other than the musicians who were in the room playing it and recording it at the time. And that brings me to the third thing that I absolutely love about it, which is the musicians who are on this record are just absolutely out of control. If you go and watch it on YouTube, they recorded a lot of the parts live when they're all in the same studio room. And the two big ones, of course, are Marco Miniman on the drums and Guthrie Govan playing guitar. And the two of those guys together, they're in their own band called the Aristocrats now, but they were sort of just really on the up in terms of their ascension into the very forefront of like modern, technically virtuosic drum and guitar playing. Like those guys are absolute monsters in their own right. And you can really feel that they started to develop some of their initial chemistry while playing on this record. Like it's absolutely undeniable. The drumming and the guitar solos on this record are just some of the best that you will ever hear in your life, really. In the context of the whole album, when the solo in Drive Home comes in, oh my God, it is, I'm getting goosebumps actually thinking about it now. It's just so good. Yeah, so I could honestly, this record's been so influential for me, I could ramble on about it for hours. But I'll end by saying that funnily enough, I think that my favorite tracks are not necessarily what other people like. I love the pin drop. I think that the instrumentation and the chord progressions and the lyrics are just so inventive. It was like nothing I'd heard before. And the song's quite short and I guess a little understated in comparison to the other ones. But I adore The Watchmaker as a song. Like the difference in the major sections, like the 3 major sections in the song and the story that it tells and the instrumentation, it's just so beautiful. When that part comes in about 2/3 of the way through, with the piano and like the multiple layers of sort of choired vocals, you'll know what I mean. Or I might even play it at the beginning of this video. It was just such a cool experience the first time I heard this. And I sat down and really listened to it and concentrated on it, which I would advise you to do too if you have a spare hour and some nice headphones or speakers. So seriously, this is a good one to have in your collection. It's one that I will keep coming back to for years and years and years. It's an absolutely fantastic record. So go out and buy it and support Steven Wilson, because what he does is amazing.